environment-friendly vehicles are already there. It's called a hybrid. 20 plus years, I don't know. They've been around and they work perfectly. But that doesn't do. Yeah, they are too perfect, you see. It doesn't work for the Ponzi pathological scheme, so they have to go full electric or full retarded to please the machinations of the people in charge. Full electric is also full estrogen, you see, because petrol, diesel, gasoline cars, they kind of make a noise, a distinct noise in the engine, you see, like a roaring beast. Of course, testosterone loves that sort of thing. Low testosterone likes silent cars, like the EVs, you know. So EVs are perfect for a low testosterone society. They are not friendly to the environment. No, because all the parts are not recyclable. So it's going to become a nightmare managing those spare parts, and of course, they don't have a long life. It's like 6 years or something. They are planning 8 years. They are forcing the biggest car manufacturers to give 8-year battery at least. At least there's got to be a certification of at least 8 years, because these things are expensive. It's like half the value of the car, the battery. High estrogen is also connected with pregnancy. It happens to women, their estrogen just explodes, and it also affects the man that's with that woman, because it's not just the woman that is pregnant, the man is also pregnant. And there's chemical changes in the body of the man as well. They start developing, fat and stuff like that. So high estrogen also will contribute to the deposits of minerals in the venous system. We have our system, is pumped, quote unquote, by the heart. The blood is pumped by the, veins and arteries, but there's certain areas of the body in which the pressure is not, quote unquote, pressure is not that much. So it's the veins that have to, with the help of muscles and movement, to circulate, beneath your knee until your feet. That area is going to be prone to deposits of minerals. Um, Around here we call it varices. I don't know how to say that in English. I have to look it up. But you start seeing the veins on your through the skin. The colorful. It's almost like rusty color. Sometimes blue, sometimes other colors. But it's the veins. It's almost like you're seeing it through. Those are deposits, mineral deposits. Not only happens through high levels of estrogen, but also it happens through too much sedentarism. When you're standing too much in the same place, or sitting too much time in the same place, imagine 9 hours a day. Um, uh, from your knee to your foot, the circulation's got to slow down to the point that everything might swallow, may start swollen, and deposits are going to be noticed through the skin. So the remedy is, of course, exercise. Elevate your feet above your chest from time to time. I would say once, twice a day if you can. Elevate them for 5 minutes. It's also excellent for women, again, estrogen, and for sedentary men. Women ought to do this every day because of estrogen. You see, you ought to elevate from your knee to your toes, elevate it above your chest once a day for 5-10 minutes, so that the blood may circulate and clarify the areas. There's also tea that you can drink. Leaves from the red wine. You can do some infusions of that. Those are high in flavonoids, I think. I might be mistaken, but out of memory, I think it's flavonoids, and they are good to, you know, help with circulation, I suppose. So, high estrogen society is where we are going. It's from the education system. It is from what you're consuming, food and water. Food, medicine, education, culture in general is being highly influenced by the big investment. You know, they are the ones steering society. It's 100% the definition of one of those isms. I mean, I don't want to say it because it just triggers people in all sorts of ways because they don't know the correct definitions. But there was one of these, pontificators, one of these, uh, um, um, authoritarians. He said, when you reach a point that your vote doesn't matter, what matters is what the companies, the board, the people who own stocks, the board meeting, everybody that is sitting in that meeting, when it's them that actually say have a saying on everything, that's when you're no longer in a constitutional republic, nor a democracy for that matter. You are in an authoritarian regime. Because when it's those technocrats that decide your fate, it's authoritarian because then you, if they wish, you have no freedom of movement. You have no freedom of anything. There will be like, you're going to eat this because it pleases our investors. For instance, the lab grown food, you're going to eat this, but I prefer to have my own chickens and eggs. And they say, oh, we're going to fix that. We'll pass a law that will ban that. That's authoritarianism, you see. And you say, oh, I'm going to move to another country. But soon all the world is infected by this authoritarian tendency. And they close the borders. They say, oh, you can't leave because of whatever reason. That's authoritarian, you see. They have absolute control over what you eat, medicine, education, and culture in general. These things should never be, controlled by governments or corporations. Nothing. These things ought to be, um, according to the needs and the inclinations of the people. Eat whatever they want, have access to medicine, education. I'm not I'm When I say education, I'm not talking about getting a degree, getting a working license. That's not education. The system that we have is for the purpose of having a working license. It's not education. So don't confuse both things. Education is something you do on your own. Your parents have to put you through it, and then continue your formation. Education is a life, thing that you have to do every day. You have to educate yourself. That's what a free, citizen, so to speak, ought to do every day. Think for himself, educate himself. But a lot of people just, don't care. But education is something that comes from free will. Everybody has access to free will, but not everybody acts on it. You have to act on free will. If you don't act on it, you don't have it. For instance, an analogy of free will. You want to lose weight. Instead of going to the doctors to give you some procedure or pill, no, you just change your diet. You quit, all these sugary food. You try to eat more closest to the source as possible, meat and veggies, closest to the farmer, to the traditional farmer as possible, and you abandon all the process, and all the carbs and all the sugars that actually, don't satiate you, but give you a high, a temporary high. You see, people take this type of food as a sort of fix, like a medication, because yes, we are all, in a spiritual battle, and sometimes we have to medicate ourselves. Food, sugars, carbs, and those sort of things is or salty. When we go for crave for salty things like chips and those salty dry fruits and stuff, that's when we are ruminating, angry, and aggressive. We crave those things. But when we crave sugary, full of gluten, stuff like pizza, sugar and stuff, we are craving affection, you see. So we kind of fix ourselves with food. Okay, so there's this fallacy going about the topsoil. You know, some people are similar to the oil and other resources. They are, screaming wolf, saying, "Oh, the topsoil is almost gone. It's going to be starvation," and I'm like, no. The practices of the industrial system are destroying the topsoil indeed, because they use tons and tons of chemicals. After some 5, 7 years, the earth has to be abandoned, the terrain, because it's simply nothing's going to grow. They've removed all the minerals and nutrients and added all sorts of chemicals. So the earth is going to take some years to renew itself. It's possible. One of the best ways, plant trees. The topsoil fallacy is a fallacy. I'm sorry, because if you plant trees and you just let nature take its course, like underneath this oak tree in front of me, the leaves just fall into the ground year after year, and the microscopic organisms are going to break down all of that matter into fertile soil, you see. Or you could scrape the topsoil, all of these leaves and vegetables that you are seeing right now in front of my camera, my phone. You can, trim everything and put it inside an enclosure and just let animals piss and shit on it. At the end of the year, you're going to have top fertilizer. You don't need artificial fertilizer. One of the crises that's going on, because everything is crazy at the moment, is that farmers are not receiving fertilizer. They've been using uh, artificial fertilizer made out of petroleum and stuff like that. If you had animals pissing and shitting on your fields, you wouldn't need artificial fertilizer, you see. But it's counterproductive, right? When you have these mass industrial, gigantic operations, it's counterproductive to have animals pissing and shitting on the fields, of course. Anyway, another fallacy is when you have these truthers, they're like, oh, the elites, people in charge, they kind of have to reveal their plans because they fear karma. Yes, it's in their religion, in their whatever system. They call it many names, that they have, by law, to reveal to the public what their plans are, so that they may escape, accountability or something like that, or karma or whatever. And I'm like, no, you're so retarded. No, it's nothing to do with that. They often open their mouths about the things that are going to happen because of hubris. They are, for the most part, narcissists, and they just love to, rattle the cage. They just love to gaslight. They love to, and they love the hubris because they know nobody's going to do anything about it. It's just hubris out of them, you know. It's nothing to do with the revealing of the method. That's stupid. No, they're just hubristic imbeciles. So another fallacy, for instance, concerning history. When you hear history or someone or some doctrine or some philosophy or some cult or whatever, when you hear them attack the psychophysical, when you hear them say, oh, you know, so and so, and that time they used to be, you know, like this and like that, and they used to eat like this, and they had one eye that was like this, and they dressed like that, and they did this type of thing. When you see them attacking the psychophysical, it means it's bullshit. It's gaslighting, you know. A very common one is when they attack quote unquote witches. They say, "Oh, you know, witches used to dance in a broom, yeah, with brooms." And what? Yeah, they used to rub some chemicals in the broom, and then they would use the broom as a riding stick, and the chemicals in contact with, you know, between the legs would give them, you know, ecstasy or something. And I'm like, what the fuck are they talking? This is gaslighting. You know, they are attacking the psychophysical to discredit, put down, you know, demoralize, whatever. So, or when you say, when you hear someone talk about some guy, oh, he was short. Oh, he had an impairment. Oh, he was like this and like. They are immediately attacking the psychophysical in order to put him down. When you hear that, that's gaslighting. You see, that's a lie. So I think I'm gonna shut up now. Tell me what you guys think. Have a nice Sunday.